If it wasn't for Robert Kiyosaki writing the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, most of us who were born into poverty would probably have no idea on how wealth was created. But thanks to him, we all have an idea of what direction to go to in order to build wealth. But there was one thing that Robert Kiyosaki lied to us about, and I had to see for myself, and I want to share it with you.
Don't bother me, I'm working. Don't bother me, I'm working.
So I want to tell you this. Robert Kiyosaki is known for his coined phrases of talking about the old rules of money, which are go to school, get a safe, secure job, live below your means, save for retirement, and so on, right? And so those are the old rules of money that Robert Kiyosaki told us. And if you've been following me, you pretty much know that I'm definitely a diehard Robert Kiyosaki fan. I pretty much follow his rules when it comes to money, but there's one thing that he says in there that I don't quite agree with 100%, and that was the live below your means. I think that was the lie that Robert Kiyosaki told, but it was unintentional. I think he lied unintentionally, but at the same time, he was just trying to create a clever way to say what he wanted to say so that he can sell books. But here's what I think he meant to say. I think what he meant to say was live below your means, but don't think below your means. So in other words, he says if you live below your means, then you're gonna always say I can't afford it. So he wants you to start training your mind to be able to say how can I afford it, and that's why he says don't live below your means. But I think what we should be doing instead is live below your means, but mentally don't live below your means. So instead of saying I can't afford it, yes, you should be asking how can I afford it, but don't just say how can I afford it and then just go find another source of income just to afford that one thing that you want. No, you want to create as many assets as possible and make sure that your cash coming in, your cash flow is so much greater than the cash going out. You want to make sure you keep your liabilities very, very low. And as a matter of fact, I would like to go as far as to say you shouldn't even have personal liabilities at all. Maybe your home mortgage and that's it. But you want to save that home mortgage. You don't even want to get that anytime soon. You want to build that asset, build that wealth first before you even get to thinking about buying a home. That's just my take on it. Because Robert Kiyosaki kind of threw me off because he used to always say, well, live above your means. Because if you want something, then you just figure out a way to afford it and then you go get it. But I think if you do that, you create this chasing your tail lifestyle for yourself, where if you want a new car, then you go get a new car and you pay the big monthly payment on it, but then you get another asset to pay just enough for that. And then you do the same thing when you want a new house, you do the same thing when you want a new boat, and so on. So I say don't do that. As a matter of fact, I say don't get any liabilities in your personal name at all. The only liabilities that you should have is for investing. So if you borrow money to start a business, that's a liability, but it's for your business. So I think Robert Kiyosaki might have made a mistake when he said live above your means. Because if you live above your means, then you won't be able to have any cash available to invest. And if you can't invest, then you can't build wealth. It's just that simple. So my advice to you is live below your means, but think above your means. Still be dreaming about what you want to work towards, and don't box yourself into what you just can afford. So if you bring in $2,000 a month right now and you only think, well, what can I afford based on this $2,000 a month salary, then you're going to box yourself and keep yourself in that realm for a long period of time. Versus if you say, all right, I make $2,000 a month now, I want to keep my expenses at least at $1,000 a month, and I'm going to see how I can grow this income exponentially over a certain amount of time. But the bottom line is don't live above your means. I heard somebody say that, well, if I want to go get a car and I know I really can't afford it, but they approve me for it, I'm gonna get it, because if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to keep it. Now I do agree that if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to do what you got to do to keep that. But is it worth it? because what you're going to do is you're going to make your journey that much harder than it has to be. Why not just have some discipline and practice some delayed gratification where you can get that car the best you want it, you know what I mean? You can get all the new modifications and specs done to it later on if you just go ahead and stack first and build that wealth first. You might even find a better car than that by the time that you're actually financially well off. You can afford that car. You see what I'm saying? And you really want to pay cash for it. I really recommend it. Or either you can lease it and then give it back. But I don't really believe in financing cars long term, because by the time you pay it off, it's lost all its value. Okay, so, and that goes for almost any liability out there, with the exception of a home residence. That might be the only liability out there that's not going to lose value over time once you finish paying it off. Robert Kiyosaki might have misled us on that, and I just want to put that out there to you guys before you make a mistake. Okay, so don't live above your means, live below your means, but think above your means. And keep growing those streams of income, keep growing that business, keep growing whatever you're trying to do, and focus. All right, so thank y'all for watching, subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting. This is AJ Simmons.